what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. The EP's out now. What do I know? The big single that we're talking about. We're going to be playing here on the show coming up in a little bit. Tell me about this whirlwind for you. We got to talk about the medical field, which we will get to in a second. I know you've probably answered that question. Story, but I want to talk about the excitement surrounding this EP and this single and what it means for you.
No, it's incredible. You know, as an artist that's here in Nashville and trying to make a name for yourself, just to finally have a debut single out is just an incredible thing. It's something that I've been working to, like most new artists in town, for 8, 9, 10 years. And to finally have somebody backing you and saying, we love this, we think it's a hit, let's run with this. It just makes you feel good, if nothing else. You know, I put that EP out in 2019, and it's kind of a Bobby Counts singer-songwriter vibe type deal. And I just wasn't sure that I wanted any of that to be my first, you know, snapshot of myself to the world. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit edgier. You know, I grew up listening to a lot of Midwestern rock as well as country music, and I just wanted to try to merge those two as best I could and just find a bit edgier sound. And I think we did that in What Do I Know? And I'm just thrilled that everybody's seems to be as excited about it as I am. So,
dude, it really is. It's that blue collar anthem that really most of us who like country music can really get behind and relate.
Yeah.
And it's just a feel-good song about the things that your dad told you growing up. You know, when I listened to the song, first thing I thought of was like, yeah, my dad told me always carry a pocket knife. You know what I mean? Like, I can go through the lines of that song and think like that's something I can 100% relate to. Can you talk to me about writing this song? Because it was with Hardy, right? Who we know just celebrated like true #1 recently.
Yeah, golly, Hardy, man. It's like that guy trips and falls into a #1. No, it's great. I wrote it with Jake Mitchell and Michael Hardy back in 2018 in the summer. And is odd because we'd never met. Michael Hardy wasn't Hardy yet. I mean, he was just kind of on the cusp of starting to have some songwriting success. And I got in there, and I didn't even know that I was in the presence of royalty, you know? So we're just writing and hanging out, and he's a great dude, but him and Jake are just super fun guys to write with. And so you bring him an idea and just kind of man, what if we did this thing and kind of the colloquial, what do I know? You know, people say that, and is there a way to spin that and make it like freaking cool and something people would want to yell out at a concert? He's the king of that. I mean, he can figure out how to turn a phrase. And so that experience was incredible. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what we did. We just wanted to write a song that was in the voice of our dad or your grandfather, whoever that person is in your life, just giving you that advice of hey, you may not understand this, but just listen to me, just do this, blah blah blah, and you know, it'll work out for you. And then the throwaway of just, you know, listen, what do I know? I'm just a Southern, you know, whatever. So that was the vibe.
Let's talk about the fact that you were really on track to be a surgeon, which is an unbelievable accomplishment. Congratulations on that. And
thank you.
In between, you were going to, you know, so as I understand it, you were finishing medical school, and then you do that kind of thing where you have to go into a hospital, right, and do your whatever it's called. I don't know the name of it. And you decided
like a
to do
residency.
And then you enter this songwriting contest. Can you tell me that story and how it all happened?
Well, so let me clarify, just for those people that are on the medical track, for my buddies that are now surgeons and have put in the hard work, I don't want to belittle anything that they've done. I was not in medical school. I finished my undergraduate degree in biochemistry, and what happens typically a lot of people will matriculate right into medical school after that, which is another 4 years, and then another 4 years of residency on top of that. Or you can take a gap year. A lot of people, knowing that they have 8 years that they've got to dedicate and commit themselves to this thing, they'll travel a bit or just take some time off, get a breather. So I was kind of in the middle of that gap year. I moved back home. I was the guy that was always pulling my guitar out, writing songs, making my friends laugh, just that kind of thing, playing coffee shops, little things. All was going on in the background of my medical career that I was pursuing. I moved back home and was kind of studying for my MCATs, which are your tests, you know, to get into a medical school. And I went and entered a songwriting competition at Puckett's restaurant here in downtown Franklin. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but it's just an amateur songwriting competition. Brought my music in. People really liked it. I ended up it goes on for weeks, you know, through the summer. And I ended up winning that competition, meeting a publisher, signing a little publishing deal. And I was going to take that year, this is not how naive I was. I was going to take that year and try to get Kenny Chesney to cut one of my songs, you know, and, you know, that was my plan. I was like, let's just do this. And Then I find out very quickly that it's a 10-year town, and that wasn't going to happen. But no, in that year, I fell in love with the songwriting process, with Nashville, with being an artist. Kind of that came out of that year. And just never, medical school kind of got pushed to the back burner, and I haven't looked back since. I love this. I love just living the rock and roll dream, and hopefully it's something that I can continue doing, just as doors keep opening up. But that's how it happened.
It's interesting because you've got to have a severe passion for what you're doing right now, songwriting, performing, the music industry in general, because you really were there, and it's kind of like a crossroads, right? Where you're either going to go 8 more years in the medical field, but that's your life. I mean, you were there, man. You were right there.
Yeah.
Or you can go songwriting, and you've got another 8 to 10 years of grinding in Nashville to hopefully make it among the talented bunch in there. When you made that decision, first off, I got to imagine that it's a scary moment for you, but then your parents and friends and family around you probably have to be telling you you're crazy, right? If we're being honest about this, and you went anyway. Can you tell me about all of that and how you just trusted your gut through the whole thing?
Well, I really just did the thing of, you can always go back to medical school. Like once you have your undergraduate degree, you can always do graduate studies. I mean, you go read your books again, bolster up, take the test. You can do it. I mean, it's doable. I honestly looked at it like, hey, maybe if I go do this musical thing and I have any success, a publishing deal, maybe even a record deal looks good on a med school resume. It shows that left brain, right brain thing, I don't know. So I didn't commit necessarily in my mind to 10 years in the music industry. I thought something would happen quicker, and it just doesn't. You're learning as you're kind of trudging through it. But I just had to decide that it's something that I love, and that I look at it like if doors are opening up, keep going through them. Like if you're having success, if it's working out, keep going. If it's not, like, I'm the type of guy that if it's not happening and it's just, you can tell that guy that's 60 years old and always it was supposed to happen, he's just on the cusp of his big break. I didn't want to do that. Like, I was smart enough to try to read the signs, but I love music. It's a big part of my life. So you just kind of have to commit to it and do it and see what happens.
So I'm looking at your socials on Instagram and whatnot, and you've got the series of things that are like, what do I know? And you're doing all sorts of stuff from yoga to wakeboarding and gardening and working on cars and everything in there, obviously to promote the song, but these are things that you can actually do. So my question is, what is something you can admit to us and to the fans and to everybody watching and listening that you're not good at?
Well, it's funny that you say that, Coop, because I felt like that series proved to the world that I didn't know much about anything. Like I was telling my team, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I thought this was supposed to show how brilliant I was. And I feel like me flopping around on a wakeboard, and clearly, I mean, you see me, I'm not a guy that's into yoga. I'll just throw that out there. I'm definitely more into weightlifting and that kind of thing. I don't know. I do know I'm good at working with my hands. That's, wanting to be a surgeon. Obviously that's one of the reasons I picked that route. Was I love building. I love just fixing things with my hands. I feel like I do have a bit of a knack for that. But a lot of that stuff in that series was not like my forte things that I would put up and say, hey, I'm a pro at this. I'm about to put on a clinic, folks.
Let's talk about, you mentioned in an interview that you had always dreamed about hearing yourself on the radio, making a music video, maybe someday hitting the charts, and you have literally achieved all 3 of those things at this point. Can you talk to me about the first time you heard yourself on the radio and what that was like?
Yeah.
And the day you got the news that you were on the charts and the day you found out you were making a music video.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because those are milestones for like a new artist where I'm at. You never think that'll happen. You're just hoping and hoping. And I remember it was about 10 o'clock at night. I heard myself. Obviously, I'm from Franklin, Tennessee. So my local station played my song on one of their little syndicated shows. And I was up at 10 o'clock at night sitting in my truck. Everybody else is asleep. And I'm just like, yeah, it's me. I'm on the radio. That was kind of a big deal because it was the same station that I heard, Travis Tritt, Alan Jackson, those guys in the 90s, and then all the way up to current, you hear their voices over those airwaves, and then now you're hearing your voice, so that's a cool thing. And then, the day that I hit the charts, I couldn't believe it because I felt like it was kind of premature. We had just put the song out. It had been out for maybe 2-3 weeks, and it had already charted, I think, on Billboard. And I was just like, man, like it was just humbling because I couldn't believe that people were responding the way that they were. obviously there's a promo staff at the label and they're working hard, but everybody seemed to really love the tune. And it was very humbling to see that. And then what was the music video? Yeah. When they came to me and said they wanted to do a music video, it was the trifecta. I just was jumping up and down, couldn't believe it, and I don't know. It's just been kind of a whirlwind year in many ways. But yeah, those three things, I'm super proud to have accomplished those in 2020 and hopefully onward and upward from here.
Well, check out the EP, Robert Counts. Of course, the single, we're going to play it here in a second. So if you haven't heard it, crank it up. You're going to love it. What Do I Know? Robert, thanks so much for your time, man. And we're going to be talking to you after you cut that Kenny Chesney song pretty soon. I'm telling you right now.
I love it. Thank you, Coop. Thanks for having me, man.